Hey everybody, my name is Jessica Ruth Bell, and I am so glad that you decided to take me up on my offer for my free self-taping course. This course is full of nuggets of wisdom for anyone who's never done a self-tape before, and it's got even more products so that you know what you need before you start self-taping. In this video, there are materials for every budget out there, so I've linked all of them below in affiliate links. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Today we're talking about self-tapes. How do I film a self-tape? What do I need to film a self-tape? What should my self-tapes look like? We're going to go over the basics of filming and submitting a self-tape. So, you get an EcoCast on Actors Access, a media request from LA Casting, or an email from a casting director asking to see a self-tape. These are invitations from casting directors for you to send in a self-tape for their project. First, you're going to want to confirm your EcoCast or media request on the websites. Next, you're going to film some self-tapes. I use my phone, not a camera, for my self-tapes because of ease of access and cost. The quality of video from a relatively new smartphone is high enough quality to film a self-tape on. If you own a camera and know how to use it, then by all means, go ahead and use a camera. For me, I'm not a DP and I don't know how to use a camera, so I just use my smartphone. There are different schools of thought when it comes to using the back of your camera and the front-facing camera. Right now, I'm using the front-facing camera and I think it looks great. It depends on your phone, but if your phone has not such a great front-facing camera, you're gonna wanna switch it around and use the back-facing camera just so that you get that really nice crisp video quality. For frame, typically, casting directors want to see mid-chest to a little room above your head. They will note in the directions on your self-tape invitation if they want a different type of frame. To check and see if your frame is all right, you can ask your reader to adjust your camera. Obviously, this is for if you're using the back side of the camera, not the front-facing camera. Or if I'm alone, I start the camera, stand where I'm going to stand for my self-tape, give it a few seconds, and then I go back, stop the camera, and check for my frame. If my framing is off, I'll adjust how my camera is positioned or where I'm standing. After I've tested this a few times and have figured out where I want to stand and how I want my camera positioned, I'm good to go. Or if you're using your front-facing camera, you're already here, you know what you look like. So I know that this looks good because I'm using the front-facing camera. And I do a lot of self-tapes just by myself sometimes because of the fact that commercial auditions, ad auditions, a lot of the time it's not really a back and forth. It's just I'm talking, I'm telling you things, and that's it. And I'm being the funny person, and then there's like nobody else in the scene. So a lot of times I don't even need a reader, so I just do it like this, and it's just super simple and easy to do it by yourself. My phone is positioned level with my face or a little higher than my face, pointed down on me. I'm using a tripod to hold my phone in the right position. You can use a standard tripod made for your phone, or sometimes your ring light will have a space for your phone to act as a tripod. Currently, I have 2 box lights, one on either side of my face, and that is the current light that I'm using. It's my favorite light by far, but I also have a ring light that I used to use before I had the box lights, and I'm gonna link all of these things below so that you guys can check them out and see if you guys want them. These are it's called Neewer. It's the brand Neewer Box Lights from Amazon. I just bought them on Amazon. They were, I think, $200 for the set of them. And they are by far my favorite lights that I've ever had. I mean, I'm looking at my self-tape right now and it just looks phenomenal. So that's what I'm using right now. But if you don't want to pay $200, you could always pay $100 for a ring light or $30 for a ring light. There's so many different types of lights, and the cheapest light of all is the outside world, the sun. I'm going to show you what natural lighting looks like in a self-tape in a little bit, but it's totally a fine option. I use it all the time when I'm on set. If you're using a ring light, you want to make sure that the ring light is directly in front of your face. In the case of 2 box lights, you're going to want one on either side of your face a little bit higher. So like they're not level with my face right now, they're higher. They're probably like 1.5 feet, 2 feet higher than my face. I've adjusted the light intensity so that I'm not washed out, but it's not too dark. Also, like I said, you can use natural light coming in from a window facing you. There are so many ways to light your self-tape. So right now I have 2-point lighting. If you're someone who works in the industry and you have lights and everything, you could do like a 3-point light. That means like you've got a key light, that's your main light. You've got a fill that fills in the other side. And then you've got a hair light, which is like behind you, like shining on your hair and it makes you look gorgeous. Like that's the goal. That's what I want. But we're going to stick with the 2 lights because they're just easier. But in my past, I have also, when I have the ring light in front of me, not the 2 box lights, when I've had the ring light in front of me, I have a travel ring light that's about this big. It's tiny. And I'll put it behind me and it'll cast this beautiful light right behind me. I will attach a picture or video of what that looks like since I've done so many self-tapes like that. And it gives you a different type of lighting. And I mean, you can be creative with your lighting. Like all these different types of lighting makes you look a different type of way. And in turn, you can use that. So like if you know that someone is going to have really even lighting on their face, if they're like a very happy, angelic character, like right now, this lighting would be so lovely. And with a hair light too. I mean, it's creativity, guys. Creativity is just, gorge. I love creativity. Make sure the background light tripod cannot be seen from behind your body. This is if you've decided to use the tripod in behind you. Like if you could see a little like ring sticking out from behind you, don't do that. Hide it behind your body so that you can't see the ring light, but you can see the light coming out of it and make it all pretty, pretty, pretty. I have 3 backdrops. One of them is pink, so I don't use them for self-tapes. I use them for more of like creative things like TikToks or videos or photo shoots, and that's just really fun for me. I have a gray one, I'll show you that. This is my favorite backdrop. It is my newest backdrop, baby, and I love it. I'm using an 86-inch wide, number 68 Teal Savage seamless paper backdrop that I bought for $79.99 on Amazon. I got it because I was like, oh, you know what? The gray, I've heard the gray doesn't work so well with redheads. Let me do something like a teal. And you know what? I love it with the red. I love it with the red. I think it's popping and it makes me happy. This is the very first backdrop that I ever purchased. It is and let me reference my notes for this name. It is a Thunder Gray Savage Seamless Paper background. I got 107 inches wide when I initially bought this because I wanted it wide enough so that when I backed up to get my full body slates, I wouldn't have to crop it. But you know what? I ended up cropping it anyways, and it's just easier that way. So now instead of buying 107 inches wide, it's a little cheaper to go with, I think it is 86 inches wide, and that works perfectly for me. So this was my first backdrop. I use this for the more serious things, like let's say if they're like investigating something or interrogating someone, or maybe she's really depressed, or maybe it's like a sad scene. I'm going to use this one because it's very plain Jane, kind of morose, kind of melancholy. And then I use the turquoise one for everything else. So this one is 86 inches. The gray one was 107 inches. And they also come in other sizes and lengths as well. So like you could get a 53-inch wide if you have less room to work with. And just use the color that fits you the best. And for colors, the standards are either blue, gray, white, and even black. People even use black. Those are standard. I figured, okay, teal is basically blue. I'm just gonna use that because I like this color a lot. I've heard from different casting directors different things. Like one guy, I'm not gonna say his name because I don't know how names work on this platform. I don't want to get in trouble or get anybody else in trouble. But there's nothing to get in trouble about. Basically, he was just saying how like this woman, usually you think, oh, you have to be on a very standard plain background, but she sent in a self-tape with a bright yellow backdrop, and it just looked so gorgeous on her that he was like, do it. Like, if it looks great on you, just do it. So that's my school of thought. I'm like, okay, this backdrop looks great with the red hair, so I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna have fun with it. And I'm just gonna let them see my creativity and my art without being too distracting. Like, you don't want like a print in the backdrop, but choose your color well. Choose what works for you. I know that I don't usually look so good on a white backdrop, so color is good for me. Color's good. You know what colors work the best for you, so just pick one that makes you pop. There are backgrounds for every amount of space in every different size. There are some that roll up, fold up, or twist up. Some people use backdrop curtains. Some people use paper backdrops like me. And some people use backdrops that look like a car reflector shade, and they're like collapsible backdrops. For paper backdrops that come on a roll, you usually use a backdrop stand to set it up, but if you're like me, you affix 2 strong hooks to your wall, put a PVC pipe inside of the paper backdrop roll, hang it on the hooks, and never take it down again, rolling it out when you need it and rolling it back up when you don't. For a backdrop curtain, you could also use a backdrop stand or a curtain rod attached to your wall by hooks. And for the collapsible backdrops, you would attach it to your wall via hooks or use a special stand that you can buy with your backdrop. What's fun about these backdrops is that they're usually reversible and work really well for small spaces. With all of these options and other alternative options that I haven't even noted, be creative and use the ones that make sense for you in your space. What's going to be the most convenient to take out and put back often? Do you have to put it back? Do you want multiple different colors? I live with other people, so they don't want to be seeing my self-tape backdrop every single time they want to enter the garage. I have to be able to roll it up easily. In fact, I have a special rig for the gray one that lets me wind and unwind my backdrop whenever I want to use it quickly and easily. It's a sunshade. This is what I mean when I say get creative. Bare minimum, all you need is a plain background and good light and a phone and something to prop it up on. Right now I have a $30 tripod for it to be propped up on, and this is bare minimum. This is basically all you need. You could send in this as a self-tape and it would be fine. No one's gonna be like, oh my God, that wall is boring. That's the point. This, your face, your acting, this is the goal. They don't care about all the rest of this. As long as that's not distracting from this, we're good. This is how I send in self-tapes when I'm on set. I'll just find a plain colored wall. I'll set up my tripod. I always bring my tripod with me to set just in case I get a self-tape. It happens more often than not. And then I just find one of my coworkers and I'm like, hey, will you read this side with me? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. Usually it's pretty quick. Quick commercials, and we read it. And I'll just make my eye line over here. I'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't know that the eggs were not fresh. That's really surprising to me. And then they'll say whatever they're gonna say. But you get the point. This is bare minimum. It's easy. It's you prop up some things, get creative, get a little makeshifty, and this does not look bad. This is fine quality to send in for a self-tape. Let's talk microphones. For a microphone, you can usually just use your own phone. I use a set of Rode microphones to get a crisp, almost professional sound quality, but by no means is that necessary. My Rode microphone setup, the 2 bits of it, I'm gonna show you really quickly, and I'm gonna try not to mess up my sound. These are 2 separate pieces, right? So this one was $200. This one was $100. And you plug them together to use them. You don't have to. You could use them separately, but this setup for microphones cost me $300. You don't need a microphone. You can just use your phone. You don't need a microphone. I just wanted to upgrade my setup, so I did, and I love it, and it's great, but you don't need it. Okay, now that my microphone is back on my little stand for it, let's keep going. You can definitely just use your phone. Any microphone that you buy for under $100 anyways is gonna be about the same quality as any relatively new model of smartphone. So if you're looking to buy a microphone for self-tapes, keep that in mind. For reference, this is what my self-tapes sound like with my $300 Rode setup, and this is what my self-tapes sound like without any microphone at all, just using my phone. If you're interested in the Rode microphones, obviously, I'm gonna link all of these things that I mentioned below so that you can just go out and grab them as soon as you want them. That being said, with the backdrops as well, and all of the lights, all of the microphones, if you want them, they're there, easy peasy, you can go grab them. If you don't want them, if you're like, oh, actually, I have this great wall, do it, just do it. Use what's easiest for you. Use what makes sense for you, okay? And let me just let you guys know that anytime that you buy something from a link from me, it's an affiliate link. That just means that if you buy it from that link, I'll make like a certain, like a 3% percentage off of it, and you don't pay any extra than what you were going to pay anyways. So that's what that means, and it just makes it so that when you guys use the links, I'm able to just like put out more content and pay for more content to get you guys like more information. So that's just what that means, affiliate marketing and stuff like that. So this is one set of Rode Wireless Go microphones. That one cost $200, and then I attached them to a 100 Rode lavalier microphone for a better sound together and a sleeker, more subtle look. If you're attaching these microphones to a phone like me, make sure to get a cable that works with your phone because it does not come with it since the microphone was made for a camera. You can wear the lavalier microphone hidden on your clothes, or if you want more of a range of movement like I do, you can put it on a tripod in front of you, like I have right here. I'll just show you right now. I know this looks very janky, but I promise you it works me wonders. It's just a stand with my little things with a clamp. We're very official here. Now that we've got all of our technical materials set up and ready to go, let's go over Slate. A Slate is just a short video telling the casting director some information about yourself. Usually, casting directors will tell you what they want from you in your Slate. Usually, it'll be something like slate your name, height, and location. Sometimes they ask for your profiles, which is just when you turn to one side, then the other to show them what your face looks like all around. Here, I'll do it right now. So if they were like, oh, I want your profiles, you'd be like, okay, hi, my name is Jessica Ruth Bell. I am 5'8" and located in Los Angeles, California. And then you turn to one side, you go back, and you turn the other side. And that's it. I don't know why I'm laughing right now. Sometimes they ask for a front and back of your hands, and this is just putting your hands up to the camera like so, flipping them. If they don't tell you what they want, framing wise, go ahead and use the same framing that you're using for your scenes or just a close-up. So shoulders, little room above your head. If they don't ask you for a slate at all, you can just add a basic slate stating your name, height, and location, or just don't add one at all. Because of COVID, I add at the end of my slate that I am fully vaccinated because most, if not all, productions are requiring it right now. Sometimes casting will ask for a full body slate. This is a slate that has your entire body in frame from head to toe. All you do is stand there and wave or pose or say hi. The eternal question for all self-tapers is, how do I film my full body slate? Horizontally? Vertically? There are so many different ways to film a full body slate. Some people film vertically and just send that in as is. Personally, I film vertically and then zoom the video out on Adobe Premiere Pro to make it a horizontal video. And I'll talk about editing softwares like Adobe Premiere Pro in a few. I used to film horizontally and added black rectangles to hide the mess behind me. Some people film horizontally and don't hide the mess behind them at all. This is up to you and your mess level. On top of this, sometimes they will ask for your profiles in a full body slate. All you have to do in this case is start facing front, turn to one side, and then the other, and then back to front. Sometimes they ask for your full body shot in a pan, which looks like starting from your toes and then working up to your face. My final note on full body slates, if they don't ask for one, you don't have to send one in. Let's get down to what we're really here for. The scenes. I am not here to tell you how to perform your scenes, but I will tell you some basic tips and how to edit them. First of all, make sure that there aren't any distracting noises in the background. You should have a reader behind the camera to read the other character's lines against your own. This should not be a recording of your own voice because casting directors, as I said before, they are not fond of that. They don't like that. This reader should preferably be another actor, sorry mom, should not be louder than you, and should not make the scene about them. You're the focus of this self-tape, and you are allowed to direct your reader. If your reader gets up in arms about you directing them, find a different reader. I'm serious. They can make or break your self-tapes. Casting directors are totally all right with your reader being virtual, which means that you can have a reader over Zoom or your favorite video chatting service, reading the lines opposite you. In this case, make sure that you can hear the reader, but that they're not louder than you. Lots of actors have deals with their actor friends to be each other's readers. This is super beneficial for both of you. I highly recommend finding an actor you like to read with and who likes to read with you and setting up this mutual deal. Your eye line should be to one side of the camera. I'll show you that right now. This would be straight to camera eye line, right? I'm looking into the camera like I'm talking to you. Sometimes for commercials, if you're like explaining a product, like, you have to buy this. This is the best thing I've ever had in my life, you know, stuff like that. You're going to look at the camera. But if you're talking to a human being in a scene, you're not going to be looking at the camera. That's not how we would shoot it, right? So you would look off to the camera, off. Currently, right now, because I'm in like selfie mode, I can see my face. So if that bothers you, don't look at your face. You can look to the other side of the camera, right? So let's say I put this person here. Or you could even have your reader stand right there to the side of the camera so that like you're actually looking at a human being, which is totally fine. Just let your reader know. So let's say I'm having a scene with this person. This would be my eye line. Or if I've got multiple people in the scene, I can make this one person's eye line and this the other person. So then when that person says a line, let's say this person says a line, what do you mean? And then this person says a line and I react to that. I'm like, wait, well, why are you guys saying this? You know, like it makes it more realistic. So if that's something you want to do, if you want to put multiple people around and just remember where you put them, you can do that. You don't want to be completely profiled during the entire scene. And when I say you don't want to be profiled during the scene, if you put your eye line too far, so like this is a regular eye line. If you put your eye line here, everyone's just seeing the side of your face. They're not seeing your face, right? So I'm having this whole conversation. You can't really see what my eyes are doing, right? Same thing goes for if you put your eye line too low. So like this happens a lot when you have to do a scene like where you're texting, right? So if you put the phone here where you usually text, you're not seeing your eyes, you're not seeing your emotions, and they're not going to be able to look at your performance, right? You have to cheat. You have to cheat it and make it so that your phone, you are texting like literally just below here. So like you're reading the text here and you're like, wait a minute, what's this? No, I told her to get the eggs, right? So then you can sort of see your eyes better instead of like all the way down here. So just be mindful of that. Keep your eye line in a little circle around the camera. I mean, sure, you can totally go like you're talking to this person and you're like, oh my God, you know, and then come back is the thing. You can move and then come back because they want to see your face. This is the moneymaker right here. Look at your face. You got a beautiful face. You got a great face. So just show your face. For editing, a little time in character before you start your scene is okay, but enough time before you start your scene to see you giving your reader directions is not okay. This also goes for where you end your self-tape. You need to cut these weird out-of-character bits out. This is an example of what not to submit. Oh, sorry.
I'm moving work files.
Sorry, just gonna make sure that the hair is
No,
okay.
you're totally fine.
All right.
I'm moving work files A through M onto my laptop. Can you put the others on a server?
Sure.
I'm just gonna have to work remotely for a while. My daughter needs me.
Sure, I'll let Bob know, but he'll probably want to talk to you first.
Okay. I'll just go into his office and explain the situation. Can you hang here for a bit? Yeah.
That's it. Here's what should be submitted instead.
I'm moving work files A through M onto my laptop. Can you put the others on a server?
Sure.
I'm just gonna have to work remotely for a while. My daughter needs me.
Sure, I'll let Bob know, but he'll probably want to talk to you first.
Okay. I'll just go into his office and explain the situation. Can you hang here for a bit?
There are a lot of different ways to edit your tapes, free ways and paid ways. You can use iMovie, you can use free video cutting apps on the App Store, you can use your phone's built-in video editor, you can use Adobe Premiere Pro, it's my personal favorite. YouTube will teach you most of everything you need to know for any of these services to edit your self-tapes. I did not consider myself a very technologically savvy person until I started YouTubing how-to videos for Adobe Premiere Pro. So now, nearly 2 years later, I'm so confident with Adobe Premiere Pro that I've edited my own and others' reels, shorts, and also a 20-minute pilot for one of my writer/actor friends. With practice, you'll get so good at the editing portion of your self-tapes that you'll be able to edit a couple scenes in 10 minutes. Filming is a different story. Filming a self-tape can take you anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour or more, depending on how many takes you want to do. The sides, your reader, the person outside honking their horn, etc. Give yourself enough time to film it, edit it, and send it in by the deadline listed in the Selftape invitation. The worst feeling I've ever felt has come from trying to send in a self-tape, one I got from my agent, mind you, with 5 minutes to spare. It was already filmed and edited, but Actors Access is so slow to upload materials that I almost didn't even make the deadline. After it was all said and done and submitted, I left my computer, hands trembling and heart rate skyrocketing, vowing never again to leave a self-tape to the last minute. On top of this, casting usually has already cast the role prior to the deadline listed in the self-tape invitation. One time, I booked a role with a whole day to spare before the deadline. Anyone who sent in their self-tape after I booked obviously was not seen. So get your self-tapes in as soon as you possibly can without sacrificing quality. If casting wants separate videos for each scene, you'll edit them into separate files. If they want all of the scenes in one video, you'll stitch all of the videos together, making one file. Usually they don't tell you how they want them edited, and if they do, they want them separated. If casting doesn't specify how they want the scenes edited, my go-to is separating them. This is also useful because the upload limit per video on Actors Access is 500 megabytes and 600 megabytes on LA Casting, so separating them keeps the megabytes per video lower. If you've included a slate, follow the directions, but usually they want it separate from your scenes. When you go to export your videos, you can keep the resolution in 1080p or 720p. I don't like to go lower than that, usually because I like to keep the videos high quality for casting. I've heard certain managers say that they want all of their videos under 100 megabytes. That depends. Do you have a 10-minute video that's under 100 megabytes, or do you have a 30-second video that's under 100 megabytes? You're gonna have a very grainy video if it's 10 minutes long at 100 megabytes. Just saying. I label my self-tapes with my name, an underscore, the role I'm reading for, and the scene number / take number. If I'm labeling the slate, I include slate instead of the role name. Instead of an underscore, you can also use a dash. Sometimes the casting director will tell you specifically how to label your tapes, and in this case, just follow what they tell you to do. On both Actors Access and LA Casting, you have the option of adding a note with your self-tape. This is where you put any extra information that casting has requested, i.e. Instagram handles, email addresses, etc., and where I like to say thank you for letting me send in a self-tape. Make sure to save your submission notes. Next, you're going to upload your videos. Stay patient for this part, please. Sometimes they can take a while to load. After they've uploaded, make sure to submit your self-tape. These are 2 separate steps. Don't miss one and accidentally not send in your self-tape. Sometimes casting doesn't want to see your self-tape on Actors Access or LA Casting, they just want your self-tape directly. As always, follow their directions, but I'll give you some options in case they don't give you instructions. The first is posting your self-tape as an unlisted YouTube video and sending them the link. It is very important that it is unlisted and not public because casting doesn't want spoilers all over the World Wide Web. You can do a similar thing with Vimeo, just make sure it isn't public. With these link-based options, casting doesn't have to wait for the videos to download, which is a plus when it comes to larger videos with more materials. Another popular option is WeTransfer, although casting will have to take the time to download your videos. This is a great option for smaller files. This also works with Dropbox and Google Drive. Your self-tape is going to look the same in any of these options. You're just choosing how you want to send it. And that's it. Once you get your formula down, you can spit out self-tape so quickly. In the beginning, this was very stressful for me, but now I can film 3 or 4 separate self-tapes in about an hour. Thanks to a solid setup, actor friends on demand to help me read my self-tapes, and practice. Go out and conquer! I hope you learned something new today, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming to me for self-taping. Your self-tapes are going to look better and better with each one you do, so I am so excited for your progress. And if you like this course and you want more content like it, you can go ahead and visit my blog, bellblogging.com. I have tons of courses coming out soon, and I just know you would love them. If this course was your jam, you're going to love my Getting Into Acting First Steps course. Let's get those bookings!